What is going on, everybody? It's your boy GS Luke here for our round 4 Showdown live stream for the Travelers Championship. Just an unbelievable day. First off, a ton of takedowns in the community when it came to Showdown, and our 4-round lineups had a bunch of my lineups move up the board. We've got MMA fights on right now. It's the weekend, going out later with my buddies. I hope everybody is having just as solid a Friday evening as I am, or I should say Saturday evening. Got my days mixed up at this point here over the weekend. So excited to hop into the live stream. We've got a prize pick stream later on tonight. That'll be a collaboration with Degenerate75, talking about our top plays for tomorrow. I'm talking about the weather collaboration. First one with Degenerate75. Just looking forward to it. It should be a lot of fun. So let's go ahead and hop right on into it. And we're going to start this a little bit different today with a review of what we had here for round 3, because like I said, we had a few takedowns around the industry. So we might as well look at what some of those lineups looked like and see what we can learn from round 3 to perhaps use here for round 4. So let's go ahead and take a look at the first GPP win, which is by Bama Law Dog, who ended up winning 2 GPPs today. So not only did he take down the 50-cent Minimax, which I was also in for today, so he ended up edging me out there. He also took down the 10-cent GPP. So multiple wins for Bama Law Dog, who might not be a high dollar player, but you're still playing against 10,000, 15,000 entries. I'd argue it's just as hard, if not harder, to win in some of these contests. So first off, hats off to Bama Law Dog, but let's take a look at these lineups. So first off, all the players in here were in our player pool for this first lineup. So obviously headlined by Cantlay, you had Tony Finau and Webb Simpson there. Just solid scores across the board. His lowest score, I believe, was Schindler, who ended up shooting -3, but he also was $6,100. You can remember that Schindler was playing perfectly with his irons, and really the only unique player here was Schindler, right? Everyone else made perfect sense. Over 10% ownership in all 5 of these plays. Almost 30% on a Cantlay, 20% owned Tony Finau, who we absolutely loved. Webb Simpson was a no-brainer as well. Just make one pivot down low, and look, he ended up beating a 10,000, 15,000 other entries, right? So it doesn't take rocket science to take down these GPPs. I think that's what we can learn from this one. The $100 takedown was a little bit more out of left field because he had a guy like Thor down there, right? So we talked about Thor as a high upside amateur yesterday. Of course, went out there and had the round of his life today. Now, did I expect that? Absolutely not, but we talked about it as a possibility, right? Guys like Patrick Cantlay, Jordan Spieth at very young ages have had a ton of success here. So I'm not necessarily surprised that he took it down with that sort of lineup. And then going over to LSU Nick's lineup, which is Nick Marsh down in chat, who can't make it right now. He's out right now at a party, but you can see he took down $2,000. This was not in a large field GPP. This was in a $100 single entry against 334 other entries. So this lineup scored 288 points. You can see the lineup over here scored 305.1, yet it still took down $2,000. So depending on what kind of contest you're entering, kind of got to temper your expectations, right? Because this type of lineup in that same type of contest would have cashed for like, I don't know, like $1 or $2 or something like that, right? So obviously, the more risk you have involved, the more reward you're going to get out of it. But in either circumstance, great lineups by both players here. You can see Nick had Scotty Scheffler up top, which I had in a bunch of lineups, who wasn't even the optimal play today, right? Obviously, you had Cantlay, who scored a ton of points up top. You can see Scotty Scheffler won him $2,000, right? So I'm sure he's not complaining about that. Also had Tony Finau, also had Webb Simpson, which were no-brainer plays for today. Kevin Streelman, Brian Harman, pretty solid there at 4 and 3 under par. And I believe Par Barjan down here, if he would have ended up parring his 18th hole today, Nick would have actually taken down the contest because he would have had an additional, I believe, 1.8 points that he wouldn't have had with the negative, plus the bonus for having a bogey-free round. So hats off to both you two there. Wanted to hop through those lineups because, like I said, it's not rocket science, right? We talked about Barjan as a play down low that I loved. Schindler, we talked about Thor as well. Those type of pivots yesterday are what won people a ton of money. So it's not going to be a surprise when we hop into the pool for today. You're going to see very similar high upside type of plays. And I'm taking a shot on down low. So good shit to everyone out there. We're going to pour up an extra drink or two for everyone in celebration for those wins, but we're not going to rest on our laurels. We're going to go ahead and try and take down something here for Sunday as well. So let's take a look at the stats. You can see it played right where we expected. I thought it would play like 1.2, 1.5 shots under par, something in that range, and that's exactly what we got. You split it by wave, you'll see in the afternoon it was actually slightly easier, and I'll put easier in quotes, than what we saw in the morning, mostly due to just quality of player. The guys towards the top of the leaderboard are the best players in the field, right? Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, guys like Xander Schauffele and Patrick Cantlay are obviously going to be better players and just score better than the guys in the morning. A lot of guys that just made the cut too, probably in worse form than the guys that were out there like 10, 9 under par to start the day. So not really a surprise to see that difference there. But looking at the wind here for Sunday, you'll see that I do expect a little bit more of an opposite end of the polarization. So, today obviously was quote unquote easier to play in the afternoon wave. I'd argue that it was probably just the same playing conditions throughout the entire day, just the fact that the better players were teeing off in the afternoon. Whereas tomorrow and Sunday, there is a distinct advantage to playing in the morning. You only have about 3 miles an hour of sustained winds, but right around midday, it kicks up to 7 to 8 miles an hour, which I'm not really all that worried about. But by 2 p.m., you're talking about double digits, right? 10 to 12 miles an hour of sustained winds. But more importantly, something in that 10 to 17 mile an hour range when it comes to the wind gusts, which are by far the more tricky part of golf. Sustained winds players can deal with. They can adjust for them from shot to shot, especially when they're heading the same direction. You don't see much of a change in movement when it comes to the arrows here up top. But when it comes to wind gusts, and you can have, let's say, a 7 mile an hour differential between the sustained winds than what you see in terms of your gusts, that's when caddies and players tend to have a little bit of trouble out there. So I expect the morning to play slightly easier than the afternoon wave. But when we look at the splits here for Sunday, I don't think you're going to see that in the stats, right? I think it's going to play right around 1.2 strokes under par for the morning and the afternoon wave. The morning going to play slightly easier than what we saw yesterday, and then the afternoon wave going to play quote unquote slightly harder than what we saw today. But keeping in mind that the guys at the top of the board are going to be the players that you want to get to. So that's what I'm looking at from a weather perspective. Let's go ahead and hop over to the player poll now. We'll also go ahead and catch up down on chat. So let's see who's down there. What's going on here on a Friday? We got Bent Boz. He says, greetings, everybody. Hopefully you're doing well here tonight. Robert Babb says, nice poll today, man. Yeah, hopefully everybody cashed out. I mean, one of the better polls we've had here for quite some time. I ended up having a 1.5x day. I played in the Largeville GPP. Dan Bama Law Dog was in the same GPP as me, and he ended up taking down, I believe, 5 of the top 10 slots. So hard to beat a guy when he's going out there and using my poll and just creaming me, right? So first off, hats off to Bama Law Dog, but it's part of the reason I didn't cash for like 5x today. So a little bit sweet and sour there, but obviously happy for you. Happy for Nick out there who won as well. B-Boss says, congratulations to the community. Absolutely agree. We'll raise a toast to that one as well. Always want to celebrate with the community out here. We got JG Funk. He says, random note, I was sitting next to Michael Thor. I'm not even going to try to say the last name. Family at hole 8 at the U.S. Open. They were going nuts. Super nice, too. That's good to know. I mean, he's that amateur. I know he's a local out there, so not a surprise that they're probably at this golf event as well. I imagine he's going to have a lot of supporters tomorrow. And, it seems like whoever ends up spiking as a performance here as an amateur always ends up being a really good tour player. So now I'm excited to see what this guy looks like in like 3 to 4 years after he gets out of Stanford. And he's the number 1 player on Stanford's golf team already, and he's only 20 years of age. So JG Funk, that's good to know about his family. I would imagine they were pretty excited to see him teeing it up in a U.S. Open, but he has an extremely bright future ahead of him. I mean, looks like he's got his head on his shoulders. Was a great interview at the end of his round, and he cranks the golf ball out there too. He's hitting some pretty good shots. Robert Babb says, cracked 300 in the lineup for 10x. Hey, we got another winner down there. I didn't know that, Robert. That's awesome. Yeah, if you scored over 300 today, you were at the very least in the top 10, top 5 of the GPP. My highest scoring lineup was 297, I believe. So I didn't end up cracking that number there. It feels like all of my good lineups today had Tommy Fleetwood in them, which wasn't horrible. I believe he shot 2 under par, but when everyone's shooting 4 or 5 under par for some of these optimal builds, it's hard to take down a GPP with that sort of thing. So it's good to hear, Robert. JD Funk says, I was doing well in the dollar single entry until Damon decided not to show up. Yeah, it's hard in a single entry when one of your guys bums out, particularly on a day like today, and everybody's going super low. And Tayshawn says, I was one off with Cantlay, not mad, should have went over 2x, still good. Yeah, if you're going for over 2x, not bad. I mean, I'm in a similar situation. Clearly, though, you're not always going to get every showdown. I mean, my player poll helped people take down GPPs today, right? Yet I still only cashed for 1.5x. That should tell you how volatile this showdown thing can be, right? Because you need to take 30% of all of your players to really cover every outcome. And I wasn't playing 30% of Schindler, right? I wasn't playing 30% of somebody like Barjan. It was more like 15%. So with those 15% that I had to hit the nuts, and I didn't do that today. So if you didn't take down contests, don't beat yourself up too bad about it, right? You're not always going to do it, but congrats to everyone out there that did. It was a hell of a day, that's for sure. So let's go ahead and talk through this player pool, and you'll see the one piece of donkey chalk I am not getting to is going to be Xander Schauffele. Up top, you're going to have to make a fade. It's either going to have to be a Patrick Cantlay or Xander Schauffele. If you decide to play both of them in your player pool, you're paying the rake tomorrow. I can guarantee you that it's probably the worst decision that you can make when it comes to DFS. First off, they're both in the $10,000 range. If you play them in the same lineup, not only are you going to have two 50% owned plays, right? 45% and then 50% for a Xander Schauffele. You're also going to corner yourself into a salary corner. So if you only have, what is it, like probably $6,700 remaining per slot, if you take both those players together, you're going to be taking the same value picks as everybody else. So I wouldn't recommend doing it. Again, I don't make your lineups for you, right? I'm not going to go there and actually create your player pool for you tonight. But if you decide to put Patrick Cantlay and Xander Schauffele in the same pool together, just know you're paying the rake for everyone else. We're perfectly fine with it, right? If you're going to pay our rake for us, then so be it, right? We're going to go out there, we're going to make our player pool condensed, and we're going to cash out because of it. That's what we did yesterday, going to guys. And again, we didn't fade all the chalk yesterday, right? Tony Finau was relatively chalky. Patrick Cantlay, also Scotty Scheffler, right? Plays that were all solid, relatively chalky in yesterday's contest, but we didn't play all the chalk, right? You got to make pivots at some point. And again, I think if you're playing both of those players that are going to be 50% plus owned, you're doing yourself a disservice. So for me, it's going to be Patrick Cantlay over Xander Schauffele, the player that has proven to be an ice cold killer. I was able to see Patrick Cantlay in person at the FedEx Cup playoffs when he was being hunted down by Jon Rahm. And Jon Rahm, guys, is a scary guy to being hunted down by. Just stares into your soul. I mean, I've seen him just stare at fans that have made noises in his backswing. And I swear to God, if looks could kill, literally the guy would have dropped dead on the spot. Just a scary guy to be playing against. And Patrick Cantlay did not even blink. Just ridiculous. Everyone in the crowd wanted Jon Rahm to win the FedEx Cup when I was down there in Atlanta, Georgia, and he did not blink at all. The guy is an ice cold killer. So tomorrow, I know that it's his best friend, right? He's chasing down Xander Schauffele. These guys play golf together almost every single week. They play every practice round together. I promise you, he doesn't give a fuck. He'll go out there and he will take that championship from Xander Schauffele, because today you already saw that start to crack. You saw him there on the final 5 to 6 holes, not look very sharp at the ball striking. And honestly, I think that is a sign of things to come tomorrow. Now, I have both players in my 4-round player pool. If Xander Schauffele goes out there tomorrow, shoots 7 under par, shoves it into my face, my 4-round lineups aren't going to care all that much. In fact, I'm going to profit in either circumstance, right? If he goes out there tomorrow and shits the bed, right, my 4-round lineups aren't going to like that all that much. They'll probably still be okay, right? Xander probably still cracking the optimal lineup, even if he doesn't end up winning this week. But we're going to be in a great situation for Showdown. So that's what I'm going with here. I'm going with the proven commodity. And to this point, Patrick Cantlay just does not choke. We've seen he's got the short game you're looking for. I think that's why you've seen him really close the deal when he gets into contention. Is first off, when he gets out of position, which you are inevitably going to do on a Sunday, he has the up and down game to get it done. And then the putter is just ice cold for Patty Ice, right? There's a reason why we call him Patty Ice at this point. So because we're fading Xander Schauffele, I'm taking Cantlay in about 80, maybe even 90% of my lineups. He's not going to be a lock because I still like guys like a Scotty Scheffler and a Rory McIlroy. One thing we have to remember is that at Birdie Fest, the points that you're getting for placement points, which of course, if you're new to Sunday Showdown, news flash, there's placement points involved for Sunday Showdown, just like you see for 4-round contests. It's not nearly as important here at a Birdie Fest though, right? When you're going to see scores like 6, 7 under par be the optimal build. I mean, tomorrow, if Xander Schauffele and Patrick Cantlay each shoot 3 under par, end up still winning the golf tournament because they're so far ahead, they might not crack the optimal lineup. Because if guys like a Rory McIlroy and Scotty Scheffler go out there and each shoot 6 under par, right, end up finishing in the top 10, not even the top 5, they could very easily eclipse the points that they're getting. Because for finishing in first place, you're getting about 2.1 birdies worth of points. So if somebody like Rory, right, ends up making 2.1 more birdies than whoever ends up winning this golf tournament, hey, guess what? You're going to have Rory McIlroy up top in your player pool. So there's a lot of just jabronis and absolute fucking dumbasses when it comes to Sunday Showdown that don't understand that. that don't understand that the placement points aren't the end all be all. If you played number 1 through 6 in your showdown lineup tomorrow, you're like, oh, wow, I have the top 6 finishers. Guess what? You might not win shit tomorrow. And a lot of people just don't understand that. It's kind of comical to me. So it's not the end all be all when it comes to placement points. So that's why a guy like Xander Schauffele, I'm even more willing to fade. I mean, he doesn't have an incentive to shoot 7 under par tomorrow, right? I mean, maybe he does, right? Because Patrick Cantlay is pushing him, right? He's going out there making 5 or 6 birdies himself. I still rather get to Patrick Cantlay, right? He's that proven killer. You can't take both of these players in your pool. And I like getting to Rory McIlroy, who's going to be single digit owned. No one wants to play him after today. And we've seen it time and time again. Rory McIlroy, when he seemingly has nothing to play for on Sundays, is fucking prime Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus there on a Sunday in contention, just firing at every single pin, making birdies in bunches, and would not surprise me to see him still crack the top 5. The guy seems to do it every single week at this point, and I think we're going to see it once again. Same thing with Scotty. Scotty's a little bit more realistic, right? What is he? Top 10 at this point in the golf tournament, even be top 5 at this point. And I have to sort this by score to actually see to be exact. But in either circumstance, I like him. The ball striking looked great today. He even left a few putts on the table, most notably his last 2 holes where he missed an 11 and a 12-footer for birdie. So went out there, had the day that we were looking for in Showdown, but arguably could have been even better. So I like getting to him on Sunday. And because of the upside there, right, it makes it a no-brainer to have to fade one of somebody like a Patrick Cantlay or Xander Schauffele, right? So that's the thinking up top. That's what I'm going with for the players over $10,000. For the rest of the board now, I'm going to sort this by score. So I think the guys up top kind of deserve their own argument here. What we're going to do now is sort it by score because all the chalk is going to be towards the top. So if we sort it by score, obviously Xander Schauffele, right, 50% owned. But then you see guys like a Sahith Theegala, right, 35% owned here. You got Kevin Kisner, 30% owned. All of these players are going to deserve some talk, at least some airtime here. We got to talk about them. Consider whether they're actually worth playing because they're going to be decision points for the entire field. So let's talk about Sahith Theegala, who I don't hate at -14, but if he's going to be 35% owned, and that's what I have him at right now, sometimes these guys that are in that 8K range, and you can see in the 8K range, right, of guys up top, we have Sahith Theegala, we've got KH Lee here, and then you have to go the whole way down to Harris English at -10 to find the next guy in the 8K range. And while there are names here, right, Harris English, Matthew Neesmith, for example, if you can tell me that you're going to start with, I believe it's 7.5 placement points for what he's going to have for starting in 3rd place, a lot of people are going to go that direction. And I mean, he looked good today. I have him in my 4-round lineups. I played him in Showdown today. He was in the optimal build for Showdown as well. I'm not sure if I can get there, right? He's kind of one of those fades like a Xander where if they end up going out there and shooting 6 under par tomorrow, my 4-round lineups are going to love it. And I'm going to eat it up in terms of profit. If he goes out there and he kind of folds, maybe shoots like 1 to 2 under par, still cracks the top 5, probably okay for 4-round lineups. But in Showdown, going to be a great pivot. Because again, his 7 points he's getting for finishing in 3rd place, 4th place, whatever it is for Showdown, it's not going to matter when someone else is making 6, 7 birdies tomorrow, maybe even more. You saw guys make 8 or 9 birdies on their round. It's a completely different ball game. I mean, if we were talking about a hard golf course like what we had with the U.S. Open, I mean, for Sunday Showdown at the U.S. Open, we were a lot more worried about placement points, right? We really hunkered down towards the top of the leaderboard. In this type of situation where the scoring is just in a completely different ball game, that's why we're starting to make these type of pivots. So as much as I like Sahith, I will be rooting for him in our 4-round lineups. I would not have him in our player pool for Showdown. Just doesn't make sense at 35%. If I'm going to eat a piece of chalk up top, it's going to be Kevin Kisner, though, and mostly due to the skill set. We know he's going to hit fairways. He doesn't put himself in all that much trouble, and he also has the short game to get out of trouble. So while Sahith might be a little bit young, might have some of those nerves that a young up-and-coming player might have, Kevin Kisner has been here a million times before. He knows this is his type of golf course. I just have a little bit more confidence in him holding up under pressure than somebody like a Sahith Theegala, than somebody like a KH Lee, or even a Marty Laird, or Party Marty, as I like to call him from time to time, who can certainly fold under pressure. I mean, if you thought some of those 6, 7-foot misses today for birdie were frustrating if you have Martin Laird, just wait for tomorrow. I mean, the guy shakes more than anyone I've seen on Sundays. But even when he won last year at the Shriners Insurance Open, I mean, he hardly got by there on Sunday. He was not making many putts. He had that one up and down on the 17th hole that was an absolute miracle, right? He chipped out from one of the hardest positions I've ever seen. He did that twice today. He had 2 bunker shots that he fucking made. All the run good today for people that played chalky Martin Laird, people that played this chonk donkey going into this. I mean, look at him. He's fucking 113 in my modeling, and he was like 10% down going into the week. God, I hope he blows up tomorrow, because the people who played him this week don't deserve to get paid off on that. I mean, he was just a dog shit play, and I hate to see that. I hate to see dog shit plays have success, right? Because sometimes it's going to happen, but you hope that they're low owned, right? When those dog shit plays go off, you hope it's somebody like a Thor, for example, right? Who nobody owned in 4-round contests, right? I mean, I don't want to call him a horrible play, but it would have been speculative at best to have played him in 4-round contest, right? Yesterday, or I should say today, it made sense, right? You've seen him play ball for the first 2 rounds. Made sense to get to him for our 3rd round stuff, but hopefully that donkey chalk will go out there and bust tomorrow. So that's what I'm thinking up top. I don't really like Cage Lee. Again, hasn't really proven it to this point. A little bit better and easier golf courses, which we're going to have tomorrow, but you're still dealing with Sunday pressure, right? He's up there in the top 5. For the guys that are in contention, I'm not really grading it the same as other players, right? Like if Cage Lee was -2, if he was going to be like 5% owned tomorrow, probably a little bit cheaper than he is here at $8,000, I'd be running to Cage Lee, because this is a great golf course for his skill set. I just think that under the type of stress that he'll be in tomorrow, the circumstances involved with trying to finish in the top 3, top 5 of a PGA Tour event, it's just a different level of calculus for Cage Lee. So that's why I'm fading some of those players there. Let's go ahead and catch up on chat before we hop back into it. JD Funk says, they're texting right now. You're going down, bitch. That's funny. So let's see what you're talking about. Totally unrelated, but I don't know if you're ever a fan of Mario Golf on N64. Having fun to replay it when you actually know the rules. Completely agree. I played it as a child. I've actually played it a little bit during college. So when I was up at University of Pittsburgh, I had a lot of friends that had N64s. And we'd on Fridays, Saturdays, get together, play a little bit of Mario Kart. We'd play Mario Party, if you guys played that. All the classics. So certainly agree with you, Tayshawn. Those are some good memories. And who's going to be the QB for the Steelers? I sure hope it's Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett's my boy. I went to the University of Pittsburgh. Just have a lot of love for Kenny Pickett. I had a few classes with him. Great leader. Everyone loved him on campus. Just a great dude too. Wouldn't really give you the cold shoulder. Didn't act bigger than he was. I really hope he gets the starting job. Me and a lot of Pitt fans were unbelievably happy about that when we drafted him. JD Funk says, you're 100% correct. Placement points have much less value in a birdie fest. A completely different story for something like the US Open. Yeah, I agree. Like, you got to use perspective, right? Every Sunday Showdown is a little bit different. There's times where the placement points dictate almost my entire player pool. I include that with all the projected points over here. So there's an algorithm I use. I take the score, right? Rank everyone else in terms of placement points, find their actual probability of finishing in each position, and then I allocate points accordingly, right? So you can see a guy like Tony Finau down here, who's all at -9. He's still getting placement points, right? Because you're expecting him with his shots gained averages to play a lot better than his peers. And realistically, right, I have Tony Finau projected for a top 10 finish, if not a top 5 finish if he plays like he should tomorrow. So that's why placement points for him, he's getting some here, right? Whereas a guy like Lee Hodges, right, I still have him projected for 25 fantasy points, right? We're expecting him to move down the leaderboard there. We're expecting guys like a Thor, unfortunately, to move down the leaderboard tomorrow. And he was our boy today, right? He won a bunch of people money when it came to Showdown. Just, yeah, the placement points is it's an interesting part when it comes to Showdown. We got Degenerate down there with the donkey chalk. Absolutely loving it. Absolutely loving your content too. Cannot wait for our prize picks video later on. Brian Emerson says, did you see the Mac Wright interview yesterday? He was talking about struggling to hit his woods. It may not even use them. That's interesting. He also was talking about how his family was sick, some of the distractions that he had. If that's going to keep the ownership on Rory low, I'm going to be in on it because he has that upside. We've seen him there on Sundays go out there and absolutely destroy. And going into last week, it was Colin Morikawa talking shit about his own game, saying that he couldn't hit the ball, ended up finishing in the top 5 at the US Open. He also did that before the Open Championship, right? And then Colin Morikawa won the Open Championship. I've just had it with narratives at this point. I'm going to ignore them going into the week. The only narratives I'm going to take even remotely seriously at this point is going to be actual injuries. Like if somebody says, I'm injured, I can't practice, I didn't get out there for practice rounds, I'll take that seriously. But if somebody's trying to say that, oh, I'm not hitting the ball well this week, oh, I can't hit a fade or whatever, I'm completely tuning that out going forward. It's just, I think it's noise at this point. Wilson Dog says, hey, man, if you chose one player that's new to the PGA Tour, who would you like? I really like Davis Riley. He's a great up-and-coming player, great skill set, gains across the board. is somebody who's consistently gaining across all 4 categories. This week just can't putt. He's gained, I believe he's top 5 in shots gained off the tee. I know he's top 15 in shots gained approach, and he's gaining around the green. And then he's lost over 3 strokes with the putter. Just dog shit. Guy cannot putt for his life. And this is the one golf course where you cannot get away with having a bad putter. It does not work around TPC River Highlands. Everybody finishes in the top 5 here, is always in the top 10, top 20 of shots gained putting. It just is what it is. Pro Reactor says Malnati's short putts killed you. Yeah, I didn't even look at how he played today. I know I had him in my player pool, but I had a few other guys smashing down low, so just kind of ignoring my Malnati lineups. They were towards the bottom of my pool anyways. I'm assuming that a lot of that had to do with putting. And MD says Degenerate guy is such a fraud. Yeah, I do not agree with you there, dude. Degenerate is somebody who I've known in the community for quite some time. I've seen on top of a lot of leaderboards. And even before he got into YouTube content, there were a lot of times where he was kicking my ass in contests. So I completely disagree with you there, to be honest with you, boss. I'm not going to put up with that in chat. You can get out of here, to be quite honest with you, MD. Blocked. You're banned for life, motherfucker. Hopefully you can go and suck on a tit now. Let's move on with the leaderboard now that the fraud's out of here. Talking shit about people in chat. Like, what are you doing? The guy's talking shit, and he's probably playing 25-cent lineups, that MD guy. Let's talk about the guys here in the 9K range. I got Webb Simpson here at -11. I'm getting back to it. I have him at 26% owned. He was like 20% owned today. And if people aren't going to get to Webb when he's starting to look like the Webb Simpson of old, I'll buy in on it, right? He could go out there, shoot 4 to 5 under par. He's a little bit expensive. He's $9,300. I'm not in love with the play, but I'm also not super against it. So he's somebody who I'm kind of just going to have in the player pool, probably around like 30-35% exposure there in my rate. But yeah, not going overboard on that guy. JT Poston at $7,900. You guys know JT's my boy, somebody I've actually spoken to in real life. I have a lot of friends that are close with JT Poston. And today finally showed a little bit of that upside. Had a 4-foot eagle putt. He actually missed multiple 7-foot birdie putts on the day. So while it was solid, it could have been even better. So maybe rather than 3 under par, he's actually able to take it to 5-6 under par tomorrow. Because he had more than enough opportunities to get there today. He had a couple ugly bogeys as well. He's starting to look like the JT Poston that won early on tour, that finished in second last year to Seamus Power at the Barbasol, finished in third this year at the RBC Heritage. Just a high upside play that I really look forward to going forward. Nick Hardy says at $7,800. He kind of fell off since his first round, right? He shot 8 under par, was right up there towards the top of the leaderboard. Really hasn't done jack shit since. So I'm assuming people, even though he's at the top of the leaderboard, kind of get bored with Nick Hardy, don't really see themselves playing all that much there. And as a result, I'm going to get there, not in bunches, but he's more of like that bounce back candidate where I'm willing to take a shot on a guy if people get tired of playing him, right? There's a reason why he shot well in round 1. The ball striking is there. He's got a beautiful golf swing. Played well at the US Open, right? So it's not just an isolated round where he's played well. We've seen this form coming for Nick Hardy for at least the last 2 to 3 events. So I know it hasn't been flashy. He hasn't cracked the optimal lineup for Showdown the last 2 rounds, but perhaps he can make a few more putts than he has today, continue the ball striking that we've seen for the last 2 events. And again, because he's at -11, if he shoots 4 under par tomorrow, and while that's not like 6-7 birdies, I mean, he might make 4 or 5 to get to that type of score. If he's going to get those extra 6 to 7 placement points for finishing in 3rd or 4th place, maybe that's enough to get him over the hump, right? Because he's only $7,800. You're not talking about a $9,300 golfer. You're not talking about somebody at the top of the leaderboard at $10,000. For him to crack the optimal lineup, you have a little bit more leeway, right, than the guy up top, where today you absolutely had to have Patrick Cantlay to have any chance of taking down contest, right? Because he scored over 60 fantasy points. It's a different level of calculus when it comes to some of these value tier guys. We have Scotty Scheffler, who I like at $10,300. I talked about him a little bit earlier, like Rory. I think he has some upside. Ball striking looks really solid here for the 3rd round. Harris English at $8,400. Loves the golf course. Won here last year. The putter has been electric through the first 3 rounds. Today, though, the ball striking wasn't ideal, particularly early, was over par. Kind of saved his round towards the end, was able to get it back under par. But what I really like here is the price point. He's just $8,400. But even more importantly, I like his putting upside. I mean, he obviously likes these greens. It's why I like getting to Ches Reavie here, Kevin Streelman, Russell Knox when he was there for the first 2 rounds, is those type of players have clearly had it worked, the putter working here before. Like I've mentioned a million times this week, Everyone who plays well here gains strokes putting on these greens. And that's when we take a look at a lot of the course history. Course history is such a correlation to success here. I mean, Augusta National is up there. It's like, what other course history courses? Pebble Beach is another course we have extremely strong course history. And then this one was up there at the top 5, but it was like number 4 on Data Golf's list for courses in terms of strength of course history. It's because of the greens. The greens here, for whatever reason, I can't tell you, right? I'm a pretty decent golfer, but I'm not a professional golfer. I don't play these greens. I'm not out there every single day like these guys are. I can't tell you why the greens here are so hard to read, or why guys that can read them tend to read them well here over the years. But you see that. Patrick Cantlay, right, gaining a ton of strokes putting this week. He always gains a ton of strokes putting this week at TPC River Highlands. Guys towards the top of the leaderboard, like a Jordan Spieth, usually don't gain a ton of strokes here. In fact, if you look at his record, the only year he gained strokes on the greens here was when he won, which obviously hindsight's 2020, right? I played Jordan Spieth this week. It sucks. But when I looked back at the stats, it's like, oh, I guess it makes sense. He's one of the guys where the course history is maybe a little bit misleading, right? Because of that one win, people hunker down on it. Duh, that was me this week. Somebody who hunkered down that one win. But sometimes, again, that can get you in trouble. So I'm trying to get to some of the players that have played well here before. Harris English won here last year, but has looked good to this point as well. Let's go ahead and catch up on chat down here. We got Sam Burns who says, Phil Smart says, Sam Burns killed you on your 4-rounders. Yeah, I faded him this week, so I was not there with you, to be honest with you, Phil. I did not think it was a good course fit for him at all. I didn't like JT this week. I didn't like Sam Burns. Frankly, I didn't even like Rory and Scotty Scheffler by the end of the week, because they also don't have the type of game I'm looking for. It seems that this is just a putting fest. You have to go out there and just gain a ton of strokes with the putter. So Patrick Cantlay, that's why I loved him. That's why I kind of was on him the entire week. But even Xander Schauffele, right? Xander Schauffele, he loves no-cut events. Why? Because he just needs to get that hot putter working for a round or two. And sometimes it's not there. I don't think it's going to be there tomorrow. That's why I'm fading Xander Schauffele. But yeah, man, I didn't like Sam Burns here at all. It just it didn't seem like his type of golf course. So that's unfortunate. Obviously, you can get him next time, right? Sam Burns, probably going to be low owned next time. So don't jump off the Sam Burns train. Might be a great pivot for the next major championship, which isn't going to be a great course fit. But I guarantee you, Sam Burns at the Open, it's going to be like single digit owned, because he missed the cut here. And it's going to be a quote unquote bad course fit, right? Everyone's going to talk about how, oh, Sam Burns bad around the green, right? You know, you play him at Birdie Fest, yada, yada, yada. Hey, maybe he's the play at the Open Championship if that's the case. We'll have to see. Let's move down. We're starting to get towards the bottom of my player pool. I mean, at this point, you're not looking at guys that are going to be extremely high owned there. So first off, you have Tony Finau at $9,400. I don't hate it, right? Like I said, he's at least close enough to the top of the board where if he shoots 5 to 6 under par, he'll get enough placement points to make it count. But you're looking for 6 to 7 birdies to crack the optimal. Same thing with Keith Mitchell, another high upside play that tends to make a lot of birdies out there. Great putter, made 7 birdies in a row last year at the 3M Open. So that shows you the type of heaters that Keith Mitchell can get on. Adam Svensson at $7,500. I like him at -9. He's a solid ball striker. Played well today. Was playing with Scotty Scheffler and didn't back down whatsoever. Was hitting some piss missiles in there. Just couldn't putt for his life. And that's kind of what Adam Svensson does. We've been very used to that experience at this point. Playing Adam Svensson for the last 3 to 4 months. He'll make 5 to 6 birdies on a round, but also make 3 to 4 bogeys. And Showdown, that's kind of what we're looking for, right? We're hoping to go out there and do some scoring. Adam Svensson's definitely your guy for that. Seamus Power had a very disappointing day. Was a huge part of my Showdown pool today, but didn't end up killing me, obviously, right? You know, I played 40% of them. You're not going to get every pick up top right. But tomorrow, because of he disappointed, right, I have him at 10.1% owned. Not many people getting to Seamus Power there. So even though he's expensive, arguably overpriced, given his position on the leaderboard, I think you're getting quite a solid pivot there. So I'm going to have him in like 15, 20% of lineups, nothing crazy, just a little bit of a flyer pick you can take in that 9K range. Here, HV3, same story, $8,700, similar position on the leaderboard. High birdie or better percentage player that when he gets it cooking can shoot 6 to 7 under par. And typically, I would be worried about HV3 on a Sunday, but he's not in contention, right, guys? You're not talking about HV3 with a 2-shot lead who's going to be looking like Nervous Nelly on every tee box, looking like he's got to get somewhere in a hurry, that type of thing. It's you want to avoid HV3 when he's in contention, but hey, when he's a chaser there on Sunday, fire away on him. Ches Reavie talked about the past winner narrative where I'm trying to take players that know the greens here, that have gone out there and gained in bunches on these greens in the past. Again, one of the courses where you have the highest correlation for past success that you've seen. So definitely get the Ches Reavie there in bunches. Willie McGirt had a ceiling performance today out of nowhere. He's at 8 under par, so good on you if you played Willie McGirt today, but I've never rostered him in my history of playing DFS, and I don't think I'm going to going forward. Just a player who's well past his prime. The shots gained metrics never look good for Willie McGirt, and half the time he's not even in the player pool to begin with, and that's for a reason, because Willie McGirt is just not that great of a golfer, to be quite frank with you. Brian Harman, probably the last piece of expensive chalk other than Rory McIlroy that I'm getting to. He's 15% owned, starting well back on the leaderboard, but there's one thing that we know about Brian Harman is this guy can make birdies in bunches. Just look at his round one performance. Look at what he did today. On round one, started off with a double bogey and ended the day at 3 under par. Made 5 birdies after then, hit every single fairway in every single green. So obviously, if he wouldn't have had that double on one, would have been the optimal play there for Thursday Showdown, or at least in the optimal lineup for Showdown, because 5 under par, got the no bogey bonus. He had a 3 birdie streak in there for Thursday. So this guy can get it working in a hurry. So I have him at 15% owned. I think he probably comes in lower than that. Sometimes my algorithm makes mistakes. I'm not going to go in and change every value, but if I had to venture, he's probably going to come in closer to like 10% owned, right? Just based on experience, based on the eye test from what we've seen over the years. -7, I'm not really worried about the placement points, just more hoping that he goes out there and shoots like 6 to 7 under par. Aaron Rye, I like at $8,100, another player who's in that mid tier who you're hoping can go out there and get that spike performance. Put him in 12, maybe 15% of your 150 lineups and take a gamble on a few guys in this range. Nate Lashley, nasty Nate Lashley. Get into him in a few lineups. He's 2.8% owned. Rory McIlroy, we already talked about that bum who I didn't play in 4-round lineups, but I will be on here for Sunday. I think he's worth a few looks. Cam Davis at -6, disappointing day. Started up there in the top 5, is now only there in the top 25. Hopefully has a bounce back day. So kind of similar to a few of the other picks that we're taking up top. I mean, like we said before, right? Where is it? Yeah, 9 here, -7. Seamus Power, right? HV3. They had middling days, right? Going down a little bit further towards the bottom of the board, guys like Cam Davis, middling days. Especially for Cam Davis, right? He shot over par, which is absolutely getting lapped on this golf course. No one wants to play him tomorrow. 6.5% owned. He's also probably a little bit more expensive than he should be. But if there's one thing Cam Davis can do, it is make birdies in bunches. He can put up 6, 7 birdies in a round like it's no other. The guy is an absolute crackhead. Takes aim at every single pin, does not give a fuck. He doesn't care if he shoots 5, 6 over par. This guy won a golf tournament last year. He has his card for the next 3 years. He's playing for house money. He's from Australia. He's just an absolute fucking madman to begin with. That's Cam Davis there, $8,600. I like playing people that give no fucks when it comes to Showdown because they'll go out there and actually try to shoot 7, 8 under par. Cam Davis, right? If he goes out there and finishes 30th place this week, I don't really think he cares. That's not getting his gears moving there. Finishes in the top 5, top 10. I think that's what he's trying to go after there tomorrow. So I'm trying to take players that have that motivation factor, that have shown an ability to just go out there and go for it. That's certainly Cam Davis. Andrew Putnam can get the putter working. He's not the best ball striker. The stats do not look good for Andrew Putnam. So if you're a stats geek, like I tend to be from time to time, you probably don't want to play Andrew Putnam. But if you're looking for that high upside play where you don't give a damn if your lineups are burned, looking at your lineups there tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., then play Andrew Putnam. But on the other hand, right, the other side of that, while he's just as easily likely to burn you tomorrow, you could also wake up and he'd be like -3 through 5 holes. And you're like, oh shit. That's why we play Andrew Putnam, and he's going to be super low owned, right? 3.1% owned. Tommy Fleetwood, I'm always a sucker for playing. Today did not work, right? He shot like 2 under par, was not relevant at all. Like I said, he was like the one reason I didn't take down stuff today. All of my good lineups seem to have Tommy Fleetwood in them, which just unfortunate. Sometimes that's how the cookie crumbles when it comes to only having 150 lineups, which a lot of you out there go, oh, if I had 150 lineups, I would win GPPs every single time. No, you wouldn't, okay? Because you can have the nuts like I had today and then have Tommy Fleetwood in all of your best lineups. Sometimes that's how shit works, right? But that's why other people in the community went out there and won today, right? You're not going to win every one. If I'm not going to win, I'm glad that a lot of you out there were able to win today. So $9,100, I'm getting back to it. I'm maybe stubborn or a little bit too stubborn for my own liking, but I love his putting upside. The guy's just an absolute fucking crackhead, absolute psycho from time to time. I'll go out there, just make 7, 8 birdies in a round. So I'll be getting there at that price tag. Wyndham Clark at $7,800. Absolute madman too. I think he's got some upside. No one's going to be playing him. No one's going to play Davis Riley either. So I'm getting the Davis Riley. Going to put him in like 15% of my lineups. Like we talked about earlier, he's one of the best players in the field in shots gained off the tee. He's like top 10, top 20 when it comes to shots gained approach and shots gained around the green. Just got to buy a damn putt. I mean, he missed multiple like 5 to 7 footers today. Just shit that I'm making, right? I mean, I went out and played golf yesterday. I shot 73. I was making those 5 to 7 footers. Davis Riley, get your damn shit together, make some damn putts, and perhaps has a day tomorrow. You can go out there and do that. Chris Gotterup, I'm a sucker for already. I love the ball striking numbers for Chris Gotterup. Just another player who has to find the putter. Scott Stallings is streaky as all fuck. Probably going to shoot 5 over tomorrow, but if he doesn't, maybe shoots 5 under par. Probably no in between. Pat Kazire is a great showdown play. Kind of somebody I'm just a sucker for. Same thing with Peter Manotti. They're going to have rounds where it's not all that solid, kind of like you saw today. I mean, Pat Kazire, I believe, shot over par. Peter Manotti, I believe, shot like 1 over par. No one's going to play him once again, right? They were low on today. I had like Kazire was like 5-6% owned. Peter Manotti was like 2 or 3% owned. They're going to be even lower owned tomorrow. So I'm running right back, guys. People have a bad round, one round. Don't overreact to it. It's golf. First off, if you've played golf before, I think you fucking understand how the sport works. You can go out there, shoot 73 one day, go out the next day and shoot 95. I'll probably go out there tomorrow. I'm playing golf tomorrow. I'll probably shoot fucking 95 after literally shooting 73 yesterday. If you're, and by the way, someone in chat talking about Kazire. Kazire is a joke. I see first rank on Tourney has Kazire at Wyndham Clark. What? Yeah, you're a fucking clown. You're one of the slapdicks that I'm talking about, to be honest with you. You go, oh, guy's trash. You had one bad round today, right? Yeah, you're the slapdicks that pay the rake and GPPs, to be quite honest with you. People like you that go, oh, Pat Kazire had a bad day. Oh, Peter Manotti had a bad day. I'm never going to play them again. Please continue to do that and pay the rake for all of us players out there. That's the thing that keeps on paying back when it comes to Showdown, to be quite honest with you. Gary Kerr says, yep, no McGirt for me, or however you spell his name. Yeah, I don't think anyone played McGirt today, to be honest with you. Somebody down in chat mentioned him down the Discord, and nobody in our Discord played him. And a lot of people in our Discord will take shots on players for random reasons. None of us even played him. Steven says, you were so right about Armour and Showdown today. He stunk. I'll pay closer attention in the future. Yeah, I don't like Ryan Armour anyways, bro. Ryan Armour is just like a shitty putter. He doesn't get the gears moving. He doesn't get the crowd excited, right? Ryan Armour is just a boring player. I don't know why you'd want to play him, to be honest with you. Phil Smart says, thoughts on Huh? I don't like Huh at all. Your Showdown lineups are looking like Scheffler, Power, Cage Lee. Okay. I like Power. I don't really like Cage Lee, to be honest with you. 100% Scheffler is aggressive, to be quite honest with you, boss. I don't know if I would go 100% unless you're playing like 5 lineups. If you're playing 5 lineups, go 100%. That makes perfect sense. You're playing 150 lineups, Phil. I would not go 100% Scotty unless like you want to burn money on fire. Like you don't mind it, right? If you're completely okay with cashing for like 0 tomorrow, then play 100% of Scotty Scheffler, right? Because if you get it wrong, that's probably what's going to happen. But if you get it right, you might have the ticket to the lottery. So just it depends on how many lineups you're making, boss man. You're saying he's so bad this year. Gotcha. He's been decent, boss. He hasn't been that bad, right? Pat Kazire's had a few decent performances. I mean, but he's like number 123 in recent form rank. I mean, he's been pretty dog shit, right? I'll give you that at very least. I don't think he's been that bad. Now I got to look. Are we giving him a hard? Oh, maybe we are giving him a hard time for a reason. 3 missed cuts in a row. You're onto something there. 2 made cuts, right? At least he made the cut twice there in the last 5. You might be onto something there. Maybe Pat Kazire not having the best year, but the guy has a habit of doing things in round 4 Showdown. I remember last year at one point, Pat Kazire shot 8 under par in one Sunday Showdown. And then the week after, he shot 7 under par the next Sunday Showdown. And he went from like 25th place on the leaderboard to 2nd. Almost ended up winning that golf tournament. So maybe it's just a 2-week thing, and I'm overlooking into that 2-week thing that happened last year. But I think there's something to Pat Kazire on Sundays. And if it happens tomorrow, it's a damn thing, okay? Fucking book it. If he goes out there tomorrow and has a round, Pat Kazire just has a boner for Sundays for whatever reason. So we'll do that. We got Gary Curry says, I'm pretty sure everyone can read what you're saying, Phil. Yeah, you're good, boss. Corey Stewart says, what about Neesmith and Hodges? They look strong. Let's take a look at their shots gained metrics, because I haven't seen much of their golf this week for obvious reasons. They're not necessarily the most vocal players, but I'll bring them up on the website here, actually. I have a better way to bring this up. Give me a second, guys. So you have Hodges, it is, and then Neesmith, right? Okay. We'll go to the handy dandy shots gained metrics. We'll see how they're playing, and I'll let you know what I think. So 1 second here. Alrighty, got the shots gained metrics up. All right, Lee Hodges. He's playing pretty well. He's towards the top of the leaderboard, right? He's gaining across all 4 categories. All right, I think you're onto something with Hodges. He's going to be relatively cheap here as well, so I could see that. And then you Matthew Neesmith also in 11th place. Really good with the ball striking with Neesmith. He's a little bit more expensive though, right? So if we go into the leaderboard here, obviously they're at 11 under par. You have Hodges and then Neesmith. I'd be okay getting to Hodges over Neesmith. So I have both down as no's. They're not going to be in my player pool specifically, but I'd rather get to Hodges than Neesmith. I expect Neesmith. I mean, now that I'm looking at the shots gained metrics, I mean, a lot of people are going to play Matthew Neesmith tomorrow. I mean, people are getting smarter with DFS. I mean, one thing I've noticed about ownership, guys, and this is more of like in the last week or two, to be quite honest with you, is in these smaller dollar contests. So like the 50-cent GPP, you get a lot more quote unquote sharp ownership, which seems really backwards, right? Where, if anytime it's a 150 max, and I think this is probably a better way to put it, and even if it's a small dollar 150 max, you're getting a lot of players that are doing a lot more research, which it makes sense, right? People are getting better at DFS over the time. So when somebody like Neesmith looks as good on the shots gained metrics as he does, where at this point he's gained 9 strokes ball striking through the first 3 rounds, he's going to start to get some attention, right? It's just how much attention. So I had him at 13.9%. I don't think he's going to get over 20% owned, even at $8,300. So I don't think he's the worst play in human history. But if you're going to play Neesmith, right, you probably can't play Harris English. I prefer Harris English just because of the putting. Harris English is kind of known for that putting ability, really solid with the flat stick. Matthew Neesmith, on the other hand, known for the ball striking ability, right? So I think more people are going to get to Harris English and Matthew Neesmith than I expect, but I expect more to get the Neesmith than Harris English. So I'm personally going to stay in Harris English there, but I understand playing Neesmith. The ball striking looks really good there, but Hodges at $6,900, I'm at least going to put him down as a blank. I'm not going to put him down as a no anymore. He's got some good stats to this point, and I do think he'll be low owned. I don't think many people are going to get to a $6,900 Lee Hodges, who doesn't show up very often. At the very least, we've seen Matthew Neesmith on some leaderboards over the last month or so, or that kind of thing. We got JG Fungus says last year Kazire was a round 4 demon. Yeah, same thing here. I'm running with that same narrative, to be quite honest with you. Maybe it's just a narrative, JG Funk, but if he goes out there tomorrow and he shoots 7 under par for us, I mean, we're running to the bank with that, right? We're not telling people that, oh, it's just a narrative, right? He's just good on Sundays, right? We're going to run with that. We'll see what happens tomorrow, JG. I'll be there with you. Corey Stewart says, is Rory tired? I honestly don't know, but we'll see. I'm playing him tomorrow. I think a lot of people are going to expect him to be tired, right? He played really poorly there in the second half of Friday's round, not Thursday's round. Played poorly today. I think that he's got to bounce back in him, to be honest with you. Phil says last year Kazire was interesting. I remember that. Yeah, he had an up and down year. He played well at the Players, played well at a few tournaments, like I said there on Sunday. But outside of that, didn't really do all that much. Corey Stewart says Cantlay and Xander always play well when they are in the field. Okay, interesting. Maybe that's a narrative to go off. I don't think so. I don't know if we had to have all caps there. Phil Smart says he was like T3 at the Byron Nelson. Tom Spalding is trying to give me shit about Keegan Bradley. He still wasn't in the optimal lineup, so I don't really give a fuck about Keegan Bradley. Like I said, I'm trying to go after large field GPPs. I don't really care that he shot like 4 under par today. It was pretty irrelevant if you ask me, Tom. So you can get your clown ass out of here, Jabroni. There's a reason why you're really watching content and I'm giving content. No one's really here for your takes, Tom, to be honest with you. And JG Funk says, Kazire had a big Sunday at last year's Memorial. Makes sense. I knew it was at this time of the year last year. And I know the week after he had that day at the Memorial, he also had another smash performance. And it wasn't just like one-time thing. And he took you out of first in the $3.20 max. Now that sucks. I was hoping that it was going to be, it took you to first in the $3.20 max, not the opposite there. But hey, you can't win them all, right? Like as evidenced today, right? You can't win them all. That's for damn sure. So did we get to the bottom of the board? No, we didn't yet. So let's go ahead and finish this off here, guys, before we get on out of this live stream. So we talked about Malnati. We talked about Kazire's bum ass. He did not play well today. I have Sam Ryder as a pure dart throw. He's towards the bottom of the leaderboard. He's probably shooting over par tomorrow, but Sam Ryder, an absolute madman, every once in a while takes it super low. And lastly, Stuart Sink. I'm a sucker for playing the guy. He's a strong iron player. He likes short positional golf courses, and this is exactly what we've got here. I've got him at 2.1% owned. He's $6,900. And like I said before, we've seen crazier things happen. I mean, just think Michael Thor, we're going to call him just Michael Thor, went out there, was a ceiling performance today. Paul Barjon shot 5 under par. Ridiculous day out there. Schindler, right? Conrad Schindler went out there, was a near ceiling performance, took down GPPs today, as you saw with Bama Law Dog earlier. Just, you have to be a little bit different down low. So I'm taking shots on a few of these guys, like a Manati, Pan Kazire. These are the type of plays that when they pay off, they win you GPPs, right? Because, I mean, let me go ahead and bring this up for you guys again, right? It's important, right? We showed this at the beginning of the stream, right? But we're going to finish it. We're going to go full loop with this again, guys. To win GPPs, you have to be able to take risks. So obviously this was Nick's lineup, right? When he took down the $2,000, he didn't take that many risks, right? It was a little bit more straightforward, but he still took Par Barjon, right? And this was in a $100 single entry, right? He was putting $100 behind this lineup. He had his nuts on the table, right? He was willing to go out there and die on his shield with Par Barjon. Look at that. He got paid $2,000 as a result. Bama Law Dog played Conrad Schindler, Monday qualifier, right? Guess what? He won $500 on a 50-cent entry because of it. Oh, and guess what? He took down another GPP today with a 10-cent entry. Oh, because he played Thorbjornsen, right? The guy who's a fucking amateur, 20 years old. Take risks in GPPs. If you can look at all 6 players in your lineups tomorrow, guys, and you feel really good about all 6 players, I can guarantee you one thing. They ain't going to work out tomorrow. You aren't going to have a good performance. I can almost guarantee you that tomorrow. So that we're going to end the stream on that there. If you want to go out there and win the big bucks, make yourself uncomfortable. Take plays where you're going to sit there and go, oh, shit, I don't know if this is going to work. You're probably doing the right thing then, because to win these large field contests, you got to be thinking differently than the rest of your peers. So that's what we got. You got Phil asking who shoots 10 under par tomorrow. Pan Kazire. Obviously, I don't think he shoots 10 under par tomorrow. Maybe he does, though. Corey Stewart asked, who do I think will go lower, Simpson or Wolf? That would be definitely Webb Simpson for me. Justin says, hey, Luke, my match this morning took care of all my losses for DFS. That's awesome. We did the $5 point for playing nines, and I had a punting day just like you. Love to hear it, dude. I mean, hey, like I said, guys, I had the hot putting yesterday. I was hoping somebody in the chat would have the hot putting. Now we've got Justin Wilson going out there with the hot putting. Someone else tomorrow, and I'm going putting tomorrow. So hopefully I'll be the one who actually gets the hot putter. Somebody's going out there and wiping their buddies for money tomorrow in golf. So hopefully that's me. Justin Wilson, that's awesome to hear you on that. Also, Barjon, yeah, absolutely balled out there. Good luck, everybody out there. Gary Kerr says good luck as well. We will be doing the same thing next week. So look forward to some Showdown videos. Like I said, tonight, we'll have the Prize Picks live stream. So in about 40 minutes, 9 p.m. Eastern time, guys, we will be going live once again. So covering our top 5 props, that'll be with DGen75, who is an absolute stud. If you guys haven't already checked out his channel, we will be talking about everything we expect tomorrow. So a lot of what we talked about here on the weather, the fact that the morning guys are probably going to have slightly easier conditions, will be reiterated once again over there. So I appreciate you guys. I'll catch y'all in about 40 minutes. Peace out.